This video is sponsored by Design Evo. Design Evo is a platform that allows you to create a free custom logos from a plethora of templates for free. Like more than 4,000 templates are available on the platform. You can create your own logo for any company you like, to create new projects or your own small team as a startup. You have a lot of design projects. You can design your own logo from scratch with a really nice colorful logos and icons, with also a nice font size and a font families. All you have to do, sign up. It's very easy and very straightforward. Sign up, email and password, and you are actually ready to go. Designing your logo is as simple as dragging and dropping icons by also searching them. As you can see here, you can create an ice cream logo as simple as that. Only from like a lot of icons in here, we drag and drop, we click, we choose which icon we want, we give it like a text, and from the text we can choose which color from like very cool color palettes. You can choose the size, and you can choose which fonts you really like from a lot of fonts. You can choose it from a custom font. Also, you can choose the plethora of fonts, how you can size your text with a custom sizes and a custom font sizes or font families. You can also go ahead and just put in custom shapes for your logo, like a circles, to make the logo looks a little bit better, and you can design it with a little bit of more text samples. And here, as you can see, with more text template. So also you can go ahead and with a classic text and choose from the font families. It has a lot of things, a lot of layers. You can choose backgrounds and layouts from here, and yeah, it gives you a lot of things. You can preview that. You can save it to the cloud if you have like a Dropbox or something, or you can download it here for free if you really need to, like only low resolution files, or you can choose the basic or the plus plans for downloading a max resolution files with a plethora of all those supported things. Type in Design Evo, or the link will be description below, and you can find a plethora of things, or you can just go ahead and start making your logo from scratch. Make sure to check it out, the link in the description below. What's going on, guys? Hope all you're doing. Welcome to a new video tutorial on the series of making a content management system using Laravel. So we have stopped in the last video tutorial after adding the admin registration, the controller, and the page that takes care of adding a new admin to the database. Where in today's video tutorial, what we're gonna do is use those admins and like make them eligible for authentication, which means I'm gonna just make our CMS is only authenticable. Like we give him a login form whenever someone we don't know who wants to access the CMS or the content management system platform. He can't access that until he enters his admin credentials. So whenever he just tries to go to the category route or the admin route or whatever, just gonna restrict him and redirect him to the login page so he can enter his login credentials in order to log in. If he's not logged in, he can't access that whatsoever. So it's only specific for admins. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna need to create a couple of things in here. But before starting with that, I have done a couple of changes to the admin, so the admin only needs to work in that particular case. So if you can take a look in the admin module in here, but as we have created last time, as you can see, there's plenty of changes in here. Not that much, but what we've done is just including two major classes, is the authenticable class and the notifiable class from the Illuminate notifiable and the foundation of a user. I'm gonna just use authenticable. You can use it as a user, but I really prefer using authenticable. We extend from that. Why we do that? Because the admin is going to be like eligible for logging in, which means eligible for authentication. So you need to extend from that rather than extending from a normal model class or the base model class. Here, make sure to use the modifiable, and you put protected fields in here. So fillable, which means which fields are going to be fillable in here, since we have the fields of the password, email, and name under the admin page, and also the hidden fields, which is going to be like hiding. Laravel going to take care of the man-in-the-middle attacks and just try to hide that from unauthorized users. So put in here the password and the remember token if you have anything remember token, since we're not going to use the remember token, and obviously the table that we're going to use. So make sure to change yours if you really intended to do the login system on your content management system. Make sure to change that into here, and everything should pretty much work fine right now. So here,
what we're going to need to change, one other thing is the class itself, or the database table. So you can go ahead into the Laravel CMS and go to the admin table, and here I've changed something, which is the password. So this field was named hash password, now it's named password for like an authenticable reasons as well. Laravel only allow password rather than hash password if you wanted to use the admin table as an authenticable table. So make sure to change from the hash password to the password. It's very simple. Just change that, go to the migrations, change it there, and everything should be like fine. And here, make sure to change this one as here, and everything should pretty much work fine right now. So here, let's just go ahead and create a new control. That's gonna take care of adding or controlling the admin. So here, for that, we're gonna need to open up the terminal, and we're gonna need to type in a couple of things. So let me just clear and use the PHP artisan. I'm gonna make a controller. I'm gonna name it admin login controller. Okay, I'm just gonna make it like that. I'm not gonna make it a resource or something because it's gonna have like a minimal methods for that. So just 2 or 3 methods. They're gonna do the job for us perfectly. Let me just go ahead and close that and go in here. And as you can see, I've got admin control here. What I need is to move it to the auth folder, since it's not the place for the authentication. If you can take a look into the auth folder in here, you can see there's a register controller, login controller, plenty of other things. So those are default by Laravel. You can use the default Laravel login system, but what we want in here is to make an advanced or full use of the Laravel authentication system, so you can create yours custom authentication system. Here what it's doing. So make sure to go ahead and move that into the auth if you want to, which really recommended thing to do. And after moving that, actually, we're gonna need to do a couple of things in here. So here it still needs to extend from the controller, and here gonna be like admin login controller. Okay, we're gonna need a couple of things. So the first one is gonna be the public, the constructor. So we need a construct. Okay, we need a construct method in here, which is the constructor. It's gonna be called once this controller class is gonna be initiated. This is the first method gonna be called. So you should be familiar with objects oriented programming, especially in PHP. It's a bit different than the other languages. If you're already familiar with the C or C++. So yeah, C++ pretty much C doesn't have that, but yeah, you got the point actually. So here I've got that, and pretty much. Yeah, I'm totally forgetting about a function in here. So a function in here. Okay, yeah, here we go. So we have the construct function, and we're gonna need 2 more functions, which is the index. We're gonna put a function index. Gonna be the main index function. We're gonna have another one, which is gonna be authenticate function. And this authenticate function gonna take credentials, where the credentials are an associative array of the user credentials, like the username and the password, and then the email. And the last thing we are going to need is actually the function and the main login thing, which is going to be like the main method that we're going to submit the login to, which takes a request. So here we put in requests. Here we go. Okay, we've got that. So this is the functions that we need. This is the index page that we're gonna need, and so on and so forth. So here we're gonna need to include a couple of things in here as well. So let's just go ahead and use that. We're gonna need to use illuminate /HTTP. You know what? Let's just go ahead and copy that, since I've already put it in there. It doesn't really matter that much. So we just wanna win a bit of time in here, not making the video looks that much of long. And make sure to do that. Also, the other thing, we need to change the namespace, this one, because this control is no longer living under the HTTP controllers. It's now under HTTP controllers than the auth folder. So make sure to update that in order to make everything works fine, unless it's just going to give you a really weird error. So make sure to use the namespace in here. Then you can use all of the other things and use the up controller, use the Authenticate the User, which is the base Authenticate class, and we have the throttles login if you really intended to use the throttles for the next video tutorials, why not? And the hashing functions and the responsive requests, and the auth. The main auth thing is going to be responsible for authenticating the user. So this is all we're going to need for that. Now we need some kind of a configuration for our authentication to work fine. So Laravel ships with a default configuration for anything or for anyone to use by the default login system, but if you want to use it by your own, you need to create your own configuration. So go ahead and enter the config file under the main app folder and go into the auth.php, which is responsible for the authentication. Now here, go down to the providers, and we need to add a new providers. We're going to name it admins, and since this is like an associative array, it takes an array, it's going to be like a driver. Which driver we're going to use for that is Eloquence, it's just the same one as the users. So as you can see, this one, what Laravel ships with, so like a default configuration, as I've said. And a modal is going to be the app / will user, or not user, actually we're going to use the admin class in here. So you give it the class that like responsible for taking care of the admin table, so which is our admin.php. Here we're going to give it, and this is all of it. Now under the guards, also we need to create a new guard. I'm going to just name it an admin guard, and I'm just going to give it an array. So the guard is going to like responsible for a middleware. So I'll talk about that, the middleware, in a second. Actually, you need to choose that in the session because our token is going to be like stored in the session. If you're not familiar with tokens, please make sure to go ahead and check how authentication basically works, like theoretically, how authentication works behind the scenes, how application can authenticate a user to the servers and vice versa. So yeah, how everything actually works before coming back in here and knowing everything of that. And here we need to put in admins, and here we go. So this is all we're going to need for the configuration. Make sure to put in here the right things as I've did in here, and everything should pretty much work fine. We're using session, we're not using token. Sessions means once the user has been logged in, is not going to need to send the token again with any other request, only once and once for all. But the token, each request, the token needs to present into the request headers. Yeah, as I've said, make sure to go ahead and check the other things, or check that before coming up in here, because it's a little bit more advanced to explain in this video tutorial, and we don't have that much of time to do that. So here we've got that. Now into the constructor, what we need is to use the middleware. So we can call this the middleware, and the middleware we're going to give it is under the auth admin. So yeah, under the authentication admin. And we're gonna put the, or here we're not gonna put the auth, we're gonna put actually the guest. And now we need to return the main index page of the login. So remember that we have put the login page. If we can go ahead and into our templates, it's actually under the pages, then a subfolder auth, then we find login.play.php. Why I've created this auth, just for organizing things a bit, that this is like under this folder, all of them are related to the authentication, which is the login. You can here added some like other registration, anything regardless to the like authentication system is going to be like the templates are going to be under this subfolder, the auth folder. So to access that, it's actually very simple. We use the same method. So we say pages dots, we say auth, and remember that Laravel, instead of using slashes, it replaces everything with dots. So they either say / and login.play.php, we simply say .login, and as you know, we don't use the play.php. So simple like that. Here we have used the index.page, and this is all we need to do for the index, actually index page. Now if we can go back and test everything in here, and instead of category, we can go to the login and make sure like you have set up the routes correctly in here. If you go back to the web.php, and as you can see the routes, both of them under the controller index and the login page for the post request that I'm gonna issue from the form. So here, as you can see, we've got this really nice login form in here. Make sure to do that. Make sure that everything is working fine. And for the submit, or for the authentication for the admin, I'm gonna use 3 fields. We're gonna use username, email, and then password. So you can use like 2 fields only, as like most of people does, or most the authentication system works on, is only the username and the password are needed for authenticating the user or the admin. But since here is like we have a content management system, and accessing a content management system is a little bit more sensitive, and it has a little bit more sensitive data. So to protecting everything and to make it a little bit more secure, like we go one step forward, we have added the email authentication as well. So we need to provide the email as well as the username, also the password, so we can log in into the dashboard. So just for like security reasons, that's why we have included it. So here, let's just go ahead and validate the form. This is all going to do for the login. Remember, this one is responsible for receiving the post requests from the form itself, and we use the validate function. So as we were using that for a couple of times for now. So yeah, this is like a very simple thing. Since we have like 3 fields, the username, email, and password, so we're gonna pass that through here. So the first one is gonna be like required. We're gonna have email. So email is gonna be required as well. And what the email Laravel actually provide us is another functionality of an email, is like you can check whether or not this is a valid email address. Like let's say someone trying to enter the email field, trying to enter only a name without like it's not a valid email address, it is going to like return an error and telling him to enter a valid email address. So for that you use like a string slash and you put in their email. So yeah, this is how checking works. And the last thing you need to put is a password. So we say password and we say required. Okay, simple. So this is all we need to do for the validation. Now the next thing we need to do is create the credentials associative array that can be responsible for holding our data from the request. So we need to create an associative array. We store all of our admin credentials in that array. Then we can check if these admin credentials are valid or not from the database, of course. So for therefore here we're going to put username is going to be request username, and the second thing is going to be email. Okay, so it's going to be request email, and we have password and request password. Okay, so make sure if you have like any other fields in there belonging for some reason, make sure to put them in this associative array, because this is very important for checking the admin credentials in here. Now, actually for checking the admin credentials, like Laravel has a built-in function for doing that. You give it just only the credentials associative array, it takes that and it's just going to go to the database, it takes the password and tries to hash it and like validate it with the real word or the real administrator registered password into the database. If it is valid, it's just going to return true. If it's not valid, it's going to return false. So this is a function, so we need to, since it returns a boolean true or false, we need an if statement to check if that is true or not. So therefore we need to use the auth class under the guard function, and under the guard function, since we are using the admin guard, and here it has like a function called validate, and the validate takes the credentials that we have created. The second parameter it takes is the actual email remember, or the actual login form remember token. So let's say that under your form, in our case in here, we don't have like a remember token, since we want like the security to be very high. We don't want to like remember anything for very long login duration or something, like remember the admin login session for more than 3 days or like I don't know a week or something. You can use that. You give it a button here. Whenever he ticks that, whenever the admin ticks that, it's just gonna be like logged in for a week or something. Yeah, we're gonna cover that in the next video, showing how you can just do all of that kind of things. But for now, just focus on this. You can add that. Obviously, you can go to the documentation, do it by yourself. It's very simple. Since for now we don't have that, you're just gonna enter false, and that's it. So this, as I've said, gonna return true. True means that we have found the right admin validation credentials, so we are good to go. And this means that the success means that the admin has the right credentials and he can access the actual dashboard, he can access the actual control management system. So in here, therefore we need to authenticate him or authenticate him. We use this function that is going to do all it's going to do, or what authentication is all about, is actually just going to take the admin credentials, create a specific or a unique token from that credentials, a hash token, a real long hash token. It takes it and it put it into a cookies on the user session. So under the admin session, whenever he logs in, it takes all of the data, put it in a hash, then put it into the cookies on this particular session, and whenever like he wants to log in again under this same session without like cross session or without turning off his PT or something, the same session without like really long duration time between multiple sessions. So in the same session, he can just log in without typing his credential, like auto log in. So this is what I mean by session. You can learn more about sessions like HTTP sessions and how everything actually works and how everything is tied up. So this is pretty much what it does. So let's just go ahead and create this authentication function here. So we need to grab the admin credentials first using a specific function from built-in Laravel. So we use the auth guard and we give it the admin, and here we need to get the provider. So remember that we have like assigned a provider whenever we were using or creating the like authentication configuration. So we're getting him to get the provider. This next thing is actually we're gonna need to retrieve right credentials. Okay. And here what we need to retrieve by credentials is actually the credentials itself. So the thing that we have passed in as an argument in here. So we need just to put that, and here we go. Here, which is gonna give us the admin itself, just gonna return the admin model in here, all the information regardless to the admin, and we're just gonna like return, or we need to authenticate that. Also, we need to use a function for that. We use the guard, and we say admin, and it has a function called login, which gonna do all the authentication, create the token, and put a cookie into the session, and all of that different things gonna be done by this function for us. So all we need to do is just pass in the admin, and the second thing we pass in the remember token. Since we are not using that for the moment, we're just gonna pass in a false, and everything's just gonna be working pretty much fine now. So we have the authentication function. So the first thing, authenticates, and make sure to use that. We need to call this, and we call authenticate then. So we call this function, passing in the credentials that we have just created up there. And the second thing now, all we need to do is just create a session telling him welcome back or something. So for that session, let me just go ahead and like copy that, so just to make it a little bit faster for us here. Okay. So here we're just gonna do like create a session telling him welcome back to the admin or the admin platform, since he has successfully registered to the content management system. I'm just going to redirect him to the category index, since we don't have a dashboard page. We haven't created a dashboard page yet for our CMS. Well, we're just going to restrict him to the category, means that's the category. Now you can clearly see the category and you can edit. You are actually the admin now, and you are successfully logged in into the CMS. So everything should be working fine. Now else, what you need in here, if he hasn't actually registered successfully, or if the credentials are wrong, all we need to do is just return an error. So we return like we go back, like back means go to the back link. The last link has been submitted with input, so we need to submit him or give him a little bit of input for just hints. All the input we're gonna give him in here is gonna be like the username, which is gonna be from the request username. Okay. And the other thing, we don't want to put him the password, we're just going to put him the email as well, and it's going to be request email. So yeah, just for letting the user, or giving it a little bit more better user experience in here. So that means he doesn't have like that. And actually also we need to give him another thing. We're just gonna like use the width, and here we're gonna give him an error telling him like admin, or let me just copy all that together here to make it a little bit faster for us in here. So I'm just gonna tell him admin password email or password incorrect, just to make it a little bit secure. And here the error, by the way, it starts with a capital letter, and everything should be much working fine in here. As you can see in here, all the login and stuff. Now to restrict the admin from access all the pages, let's say to restrict him for now, if you can just type in here category, he can actually easily go ahead and access the category. He can easily access the admin page. How we can actually restrict him whenever he hits the category and he is not actually logged in yet, what we want is to redirect him to the login page and tell him you must log in first in order to proceed and see, or like to the control admin or the admin control panel. So to do that, we need to use the middleware, the C middleware we have used in here under the other controllers we want to control. So here, if we can go to remember to the category controller, under the constructor, make sure to put in here constructor if you haven't already, and you just put in a middleware, and instead of putting a guest means anybody can see that route. What you want is to put in auth, which means only authenticated admins or all the authenticated users can see this route, can actually access this resource on the server. So here, if you can try to save that, go back, refresh that like category, and as you can see, it clearly redirects us into the /login. Simple. As you can see here, it's just very basic thing. Whenever you try to access the category now, we're just gonna get into the login page. If you want to do this for the admin, let's say the admin.php, you need to also go ahead and enter the controller, into the construct function or construct method, put in here the middleware, and everything should be working pretty much fine for you. So now let's try to like go ahead and authenticate the user, since we have created a user called Islam with islam@me.com, like an email, read email 1234556. Try to log in here and like waited a little bit of seconds, and as you can see, I guess we have got an error, and must be an instance of HTTP request. So yeah, the validate. Okay, under the validate function, we're not like actually putting in a request. It's my bad. I haven't passed in a first argument to this function, so let me just go ahead and do it pretty quickly here. Yeah, we need to pass in the request first to the validate method in order to work fine, in order to actually be able to validate our credentials from the form submit. And here, we could just go ahead, and as you can see, clearly we can log in into our account and we can get into the category thing. Now if we try to go ahead into the login, it actually won't allow us. It's just going to redirect us to this home, which is not undefined. You can go to the routes and you can just change the home and put it into the category, but for now it's working pretty much fine. Here's the authentication. You have a fully authentication system. It's not that much of an advanced authentication system. In the next video tutorials, obviously we're going to talk about more of how you can make it a little bit more better and secure and make it a little bit more advanced and control it from all the ways around. So yeah, that was actually a very basic thing, just showing you how authentication system works behind the scenes up in Laravel, and yeah, everything is tied up together, and how you set up everything and the login control and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys.